Alright, welcome everybody. This is gonna be another 1.0 League Starter build guide here. This is gonna be Holy Trail Paladin this time around. One of my favorite League Starter builds personally, and probably what I will be playing as well. I did the same for 0.9 as a new player in last Epoch. I absolutely loved it. It was very effective and it's very easy to set up and gear up for. Now, before we start explaining everything, if you find the video useful, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more content. Let's get into the build and see what we have here. Now, the main premise of the build is that we are throwing our javelin. It creates this holy trail here from our skill tree, this thing over here, and the holy trail that it creates does fire and lightning damage over time, right? The playstyle is fairly simple. Once you start doing monoliths, you just throw your javelin and you walk around on your holy trail. The reason I'm saying that you're walking around is the holy trail also heals you. That scales with healing effectiveness, and that means that any incoming damage will be healed instantly. And other than that, you just use your lance from pack to pack. It's very effective. You have low cooldown and 2 charges on your lance, so that's very good. Also, it helps our single target. For bosses, you want to pop your sigils first, then volatile reversal to get your mana back, and then holy aura, you start doing that. And once you have your volatile reversal back, you can do that. As you can see, we're getting over 200k dots once we hit our volatile reversal, which increases our damage by a lot, and that's with very bad gear. I don't even have any healing effectiveness idols right now on this build. I was a little bit unlucky on my LeagueStarter runner, but it's still fantastic, and you can clear your monoliths fairly fast. Alright, let's get into the planners and see what we have here. Actually, let's talk about leveling first. So when you start leveling your sentinel, you're gonna be popping your hammer throw as your first specialization, and you're gonna be traveling into the iron spiral here, get the extra projectiles. If you need a little bit help with your mana, you can grab a point on the mana cost, and then you just take attack speed. You're not gonna be leveling that much with hammer throw. It's just for the first couple of chapters. After that, you will have your javelin online. Second specialization early on, it doesn't really matter. You can take whatever you want. You can grab rebuke for the extra defense layer, a little bit healing. You can grab whatever you want. That's up to you, because we will be de-specking it very fast. Once you get your Paladin mastery, you're specking into Holy Aura to get the extra resistances as fast as possible. That's gonna make your play through the campaign very easy. And as third specialization, you're gonna be grabbing your javelin. Now, once you get Holy Trail and Path of Judgment, that's when your javelin and Holy Trail is online. You de-spec your hammer throw, you're getting into lance so that you can travel right here. This makes lance. Once you hit an enemy, at the end you actually proc another javelin. That means another Holy Trail, and requires a spear. That's why we have filtered the spears on our loot filter. We're gonna talk about that later. It's important to know that all the holy trails stack on top of each other, so that's why we want a nice cooldown recovery rate, and we are popping all of our javelins from lance and the main skill on bosses. We're stacking our holy trails, volatile reversal, and we're getting enough single target. Alright, now the first planner that I have here is fairly simple. This is just to showcase what kind of things you want. There are some important affixes for your build, and that's healing effectiveness and elemental damage over time. Damage over time also scales your build, and other than that, you need health, armor, and a little bit resistances. Just as reference, I have an empty planner here, no gear, no blessings, no idols. You can see how many resistances we can get as a Paladin. That's why this build is so good as a League Starter, because you can gear it very easily, and you don't need to worry a lot about your initial defenses, right? The build itself is not one of the tankiest or anything, but it does the job. It does the job very well. We have good recovery from our holy trails. We can hit decent armor if you're using the correct helmet and body armor items that have a lot of flat armor on your implicits. We're scaling a little bit of strength, so everything is fine there. Let's start with our skills. Javelin here, everything again, they have progression, how you wanna max it out. It's fairly straightforward. The attack speed here is something that we are progressing at last. We just start traveling to start with Holy Trail and Path of Judgment. This is the node that makes Holy Trail getting extra spell damage from our healing effectiveness, and why we want to scale healing effectiveness. This is more damage over time, more damage for fire and lightning. This is more damage over time, and then we just travel in right here for a 50% more damage multiplier. Fairly straightforward. Lance has a couple of different options. First of all, you wanna travel right here. This is mandatory. Then I do like the two charges. This is gonna maximize your single target as well. So make sure that you get that. After that, you can go down here. This makes you invulnerable while lunging. This is a little bit of an extra layer of defense. And this is kill threshold, but it's a little bit of a weird kill threshold. You're not gonna get the 15% if you're lunging just in forward in front of the boss. You need a little bit of distance. It's still very good. Personally, I like it a lot. If you don't, just remove those points and you can get them into Dawn Swords. This is gonna help you with your recovery even further. Whenever you're lunging, you will be recovering a percentage of your missing health. This is also frailty here. I like 2 points here. It's value for bosses. You're not gonna stack 3 charges of frailty all the time, but it's still very good, and anything that we can do for our defenses is pretty fantastic. Holy Aura, very straightforward. Holy Aura gives us increased damage and elemental resistances. We further increase the elemental resistance from Holy Aura from this and endurance. That makes our endurance cap extremely easy with our passives as well. And other than that, we are maximizing healing effectiveness here from our Holy Aura, and this is very important. Ecclesia's ailments, free cleanse is always nice, a little bit of extra poison resistance, fire penetration, and global fire damage. Keep in mind, when you are pressing your Holy Aura, you will be doubling all of its effects, right? Double healing effectiveness, double increased damage, and etc, etc. Also, very important, once you get your Paladin Mastery, you need to put Holy Aura on your action bar for it to work. Sigils of Hope, we're getting the Summon Sigil chance on kill, and we're maxing out our duration. We're getting +1 Sigil and maxing our healing effectiveness. This is very good. This is 120% healing effectiveness when you have all your sigils up. Volatile Reversal, nothing too insane. We're just traveling here, getting the more damage over time. We're getting the double rifts. This is increased damage, cooldown recovery rate, and this is also cooldown recovery rate. As many volatile reversals as we can on our bosses, we use that as our mana generation, and also to recover a little bit of mana, and also of course for the boost on damage. Let's talk about the passives. Now this is level 103, but I have the progression early on to see what you will be getting. Keep in mind that once you are at level 35, you want 5 points on Void Knight to have Volatile Reversal unlocked. So basically 30 to 35, you just putting 5 points here on a boss in endurance, because 35 you have the 4th specialization, and that's gonna be Volatile Reversal. Your last specialization is gonna be Sigil of Hope. Now for the passives, we're just grabbing strength and resistances, vitality here. This is a little bit of armor and less damage taken from nearby enemies. This is health and cooldown recovery rate for our lance. This is very good. Paladin, we are getting penetration and extra damage here. maxing out Valor, healing effectiveness, and flat health. This is gonna come a little bit later, but we do want the free endurance from here. And we're getting healing effectiveness, necrotic resistance, health from Holy Icon, Faith Armor, and those two nodes here are very, very good. Reverse of Duality, increase your hit points, and a little bit of damage and healing effectiveness, mainly for the hit points is what we want. And here we have movement speed and a little bit of extra fire and lightning damage. Now, a little bit important about Faith Armor, we don't really use the crit avoidance, but you can use it with a blessing from Emperor of Corpses to cap your crit avoidance. I'm gonna talk about that on the blessings. 10 points on Abyssal Endurance, and the last points, if you ever get into that level and you're still playing the main build, just go for strength and a little bit of health here on the Forge Guard. We don't have anything else, but those points are pretty much free. You can invest them anywhere you want. Alright, let's check out the idols. The idols are very important, but fairly straightforward. We want adorned idols with increased healing effectiveness on the prefix. The only suffix that is fairly useful here is life. Other than that, you want any idol with healing effectiveness on the prefix with as high roll as you can. You need 4 of those, and then you want smaller terrain idols with again healing effectiveness as high as possible roll, and any resistance that you want to cap your build. You can get physical, poison, void, and necrotic. Most likely you will need physical or poison on those, but any can do. Alright, blessings now. For the blessings, we are grabbing the health from Black Sun. We are already capped on our void resistance, so we don't need any more void resistance. Mana is nice from Radiant Storms, but nothing too exciting. Spirits of Fire and Edge of Winter for extra armor, flat and increased. And Reign of Dragons, I have all the resistances here. So there are a few different ways to cap your crit avoidance on this build, which is pretty fantastic. First of all, because Faith Armor gives us 40% crit avoidance, you can grab your blessing here, but you need the empowered monolith blessing, the grand one, and you can cap your crit avoidance like that, right? With a grand survival. But there is, because we're going to be using a spear, there is a suffix here that reduces bonus damage taken from critical strikes, and it can roll up to 100% at tier 5. We don't have any useful suffixes on our spear. This is one of them, and attributes is the other one, because we don't have a lot of hits. Anything that has to do with hit, it doesn't really matter for us. So if you can get that, you can pretty much cap your crit avoidance from this and utilize more resistance on your Reign of Dragons, and you can, you know, get fortification here. Alternative, if you're using Judicator, because it is a nice option here for this build, and you cannot get this tier 5 reduced, you can either use fortification on a lot of gear pieces that reduce your damage from critical strikes, or you can just opt into your critical strike avoidance blessing. There are plenty of options. As I said, Judicator is a very nice unique spear. I would say that if you get 1 LP on it, try to get a tier 6 or tier 7 increased damage over time on prefixes, and you should be fine. Other than that, not many uniques that you can use, but as a gloves, you can use the Atrophy gloves that they drop fairly commonly from the the second monolith, Black Sun, from the monolith boss. If you find them, it's nice because we're getting a nice amount of penetration for damage over time, and that's a very useful stat for us. Other than that, as you can see on my rings here, we want opal rings eventually for the cooldown recovery rate, and we want elemental damage over time and healing effectiveness. Solar Commandment is the best relic base by far. We're getting healing effectiveness on it, a little bit extra fire damage. Fire damage, lightning damage still scales our build, but it's just not extremely useful. Boots, cooldown recovery rate, and movement speed. Other than that, just life. Same on your belt, you want cooldown recovery rate, element cleanse on your potion, and elemental damage over time are the 3 most important things you want here. and your chest and helmet, fairly straightforward, just vitality, strength, increased health, increased armor, anything to boost our defenses. For the gloves, you can get damage over time on prefix, and I prefer strength as well. Same with the amulet as the rings, healing effectiveness, and elemental damage over time. Now, I will provide you with a little bit of a endgame planner here as well. If you wish to push this build further, it can do a lot of good things for you when it comes to farming. Fairly fast echo run, I would say, because Lance, if you learn to use it properly, you can bypass a lot of the terrain. And for the body armor, Titanheart is definitely our beast. We want the less damage taken, the 15% less damage taken. Also, the increased health that rolls very high is extremely important. If you get LP on it, just try to get tier 6 or tier 7 increased percent life. Other than that, the side lance is our best spear because it has elemental penetration on the implicit. You want one of those with as much higher roll on the elemental penetration, and then you want damage over time, exalted. Again, attributes, reduce damage taken from critical strikes on your suffixes, and either fire or lightning damage as a second prefix. Not that important if you cannot get it maxed out, but if you can, that's the other prefix that you can use for your build. Oracle Amulet is definitely the best base on an endgame build for most classes, especially if you don't need the resistance from your amulet. This is less damage over time taken. That's a very hard stat to get on any of your gear, so very important. Elemental damage over time, healing effectiveness and life. Nothing changes on the end game, just you need exalted in high tiers. Plated gauntlets here, if you can get it. The experimental affix for damage mitigation for armor mitigation applying to the damage over time is very nice affix. If you can get in a nice pair of gloves, definitely gonna help you with your damage over time mitigation, so definitely aim for it. On our boots, the haste experimental affix is very important. This is not even counting the haste effect here, so you're gonna be running around at 100% movement speed on your echoes, and you're gonna have about 2.4 with enough cooldown recovery rate, about 2.4 lance cooldown with 2 charges, and even like 1.9 or 2 second cooldown on your javelin. So you're gonna be extremely fast on clearing. This one doesn't have the best reach. It has a little bit of an issue with monsters that are very static on your echoes, but other than that, anything that follows you always dies very fast. I will provide you with this planner, and let's talk about the filter as well. For all my league starters, I'm providing you with the filter that I'm personally using. If you want to do it yourselves, that's completely fine. Same deal here, we're showing magic items from 1 to level 15. Other than that, we're just showing magic and rare items a little bit further. This is mainly to get some life and resistances early on. We are also showing some rare items a little bit higher into the game. Early weapons, you just need something with physical damage, anything that can boost a little bit your hammer throw. It's not that important. Any throwing flat or throwing damage as well is gonna be pretty nice early on if you can get it, until you swap into javelin. I have also showing magic and rare spears early on because you want one of them when you swap into your setup, and I'm recoloring and making sure that you can find your decide lance. Decide lance has a minimum requirement level of 80, so just make sure that you already have one. Once you hit 80, equip that, you're gonna see a major damage boost. Other than that, the two things that I'm actually filtering on top here on my idols, on my adult idols, are healing effectiveness and chance for smite on throwing attacks, because this is definitely a build that you can swap into a smite hammerding. So it's good to keep an eye for those idols early on. Once you get a couple of them, you can go into that build. The best part about this build in general is that you can swap and transition into any Paladin build that you would like. Personally, I might go for my Conqueror Paladin that I have a build guide for, and I really like this transition because they basically use the same gear affixes. You know, you want elemental damage over time and increased healing effectiveness, so I might go for that, but we'll see how it goes. If I play this build, probably gonna swap into a Conqueror and farm higher corruption with it. I believe that's everything. This is a very stable league starter. It's gonna do good for you. Almost 0% chance that anything is gonna get nerfed on this build, so we are good there as well. Make sure you're practicing and get ready. If you have any questions, drop them below on the comments, or you can always drop by my streams, and I'm always happy to answer any question you have about my builds and whatever I'm doing into the game. I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.